So good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the famous topic of relationship. Famous because everybody is writing tons of articles and, you know, in the newspapers, in the magazines, in the books. There are so many books about relationship. And when we think about it, everything in our life is about relationship because we start in this world with our parents. So we're going to have relationships with the family that we are born in, with the siblings, with the peers at school, with the co-workers. Then we grow into an adult, and then we want to be in a relationship with, you know, a significant other. So when we look at all our life, 99% really of our life is based on the relationship, on all relationships. Relationship as a big, you know, big word. And also when we look at things, we find that that's the source of the biggest joys and the worst despairs, okay? Relationship can make us go into huge waves of, you know, happiness and anticipation and wanting things and feeling in love and having the heads in the cloud, or just simply having a friend, getting along with people, to being completely feeling down, feeling rejected, not having anyone, you know, to talk to. So it's really the source, when we think about it, of a lot of reaction. You know, of a lot of reaction. It's one of the most difficult things to actually control and understand. So I would like to go from, you know, the global idea of relationship to today, you know, hopefully giving everybody a lot more tools about personal relationships, love relationships, certain things, certain bullet points that we always have to keep in mind when we deal with the topic of relationship. So the first thing I want to tell you, I mean, remember, this is a Kabbalah class. Kabbalah class means that it's got to have to be controversial. So a lot of the myths, a lot of the things that we always believed in, you know, what we are really nurtured all our lives by the fairy tales and, you know, the idea of love. And we, you know, we look at movies and it's going to be amazing and it's going to be the charming prince or the princess. And it ends up being a little bit like, okay, that's not exactly the way I fathom it. So when we look, and I had the curiosity to look at, Psychology magazine, where it was written down there, you know, like a few bullet points about how to choose the right partner in life, okay? And it's very funny because I have the list, it's depressing. You have at least 25 points, and if you gotta have to go to a questionnaire like this, every time we go on a business, you know, on a business partnership or on a date, forget it. You don't want to date anymore. Like, it's 25 crazy bullet points. It's got to be wise, and it's got to be a teamwork, and like crazy, you know, later on we can read the bullet points together. There's no way you're going to screen every person you're going out with, or, you know, every potential business partner you're going to be dealing with those points. It's impossible to do because there are so many of them. So what I wanted to give us today is a complete different perception about relationships. And when we go to the Kabbalist, we find that relationships are the biggest vehicle in Kabbalah to help us restrict. It's one of the biggest tool of restriction. And indeed, a person that knows you the best is the person that in the end of the day is going to push all the possible buttons. And when we look at, you know, Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Ari, when he talks specifically about the idea of soulmate and relationship, he actually writes something very interesting. He writes that, you know, the soulmate of a person will have to cross the seas. So now immediately, if you interpret it in the 1%, you go like, oh, no way. You know, I'm now going to go on the internet and try to, you know, date or have friendships and partnership with people that are across the ocean. Okay, wait, what's that about? Hawaii, you know, Japan, let's go to Paris or London. But of course, we know that this is not what the Kabbalists mean, really. To go across the seas, to cross the ocean, you know, will be the person that crossed the ocean will be the person that is the right, you know, relationship for you, that is the right partnership for you. So the Kabbalists go and ask, oh my God, what does it mean? You know, obviously it's not geographical. What's the deep meaning of that? And the Kabbalists come up with an amazing answer. When we speak about crossing the ocean, you know, and you think about that idea, the first thing that comes to your mind is that crossing the ocean is not an easy thing. Whether you take a plane or in those days, right? Rabbi Isaac Luria wrote it in the 16th century, okay? Crossing the ocean is a dangerous thing. Crossing the ocean is uncomfortable. Crossing the ocean means to be completely out of my zone of, understanding things. If I cross the ocean, I'm going to land where? In a foreign land. I may not speak the language. I may not really understand the customs and habits of that particular land or the inhabitants of that land. We may have complete different, ways of understanding certain things in our life and complete different behaviors. But yet, if it's a real relationship, I have to be able to be crossing the ocean. I have to be able to look at that person, learn their language, know what they really mean by things, enter their shoes, enter their zone of comfort, being out of my comfort zone. And you know what? It's so interesting because it's not the way we are used to view relationships. What is our normal human way of understanding relationship? Who do we typically want to hang around, hang out with, or who do we want to have around us? We want to have around us people that will pat us in the back, will tell us, oh, well, I love you so much. We have the same interests. We have the same habits. We go to the same restaurants. Even if it's just friendships, we're going to watch the same movies. We read the same authors. The way that we are wired and trained about relationship is completely the opposite. When you think about it, it's the opposite of what the Kabbalists are telling us.